Hello everyone, very good afternoon. I welcome you to the Cinema MS Podcast Club. And on this very special podcast, we have two special leaders with us, CMA Mr. Neeraj Joshi and CMA Mr. Mihir Vyas. I would really honorable and have this great opportunity to welcome you to NMIMS Indore and as well as to this podcast, sir. Today we're going to talk about the very special, a very industrial, most expensive or the most requirement point, that is how MSMEs are actually evolving in India and how does cost accounting plays a very important role about it. So before we begin, I'd just like you to give a small introduction about yourselves to the audience so that they're very well engaged of who these big leaders are.
So, very good morning to you. I am CMA Neeraj Joshi. I am currently Vice President of the Institute of Cost Accountants of India, ICMA. I am also a practicing cost accountant. I am partner in a firm called as Joshi and Associates. And I specialize mainly in the domain of cost and management accounting, ERP consulting, and in the institute I hold all India Vice Presidential post. So, mainly involved in the decision making at the institute level or policy formation of the institute in the domain of cost and management accounting.
All right, sir.
Thank you, Viman. This side CMA Mihir Vyas. I am chairman of ICMA WRC and I am a practicing cost accountant.
That's a very great introduction before we begin to the podcast. So the very first question that drives whenever we see in fact for all the audience who are gonna watch this podcast, the very first doubt is that, so what exactly is cost management to a layman? What do you think that cost management would mean to a layman person who has never came across such words?
Actually, everyone thinks CMA is just like CA. In India, there are three parallel bodies which is under the Act of Parliament. One is Institute of Cost and Management Account of India, it's ICMA. One is ICAI and one is ICI. We are the leader of ICMA Institute.
See, so basically costing is a domain which very few people, the common people, they know because the work of a cost accountant or cost and management accountant is not there in public domain. So any company or any business has two parts to it. One is how you make a profit. Mm-hmm. So that's what your P&L account will give you, profit and loss account or financial accounts balance sheet. The other part is to make profit, you need to have cost and a price.
Yes.
Correct. So the cost accountants are the one who are helping the industry to manage the cost, and they are helping government to know what is the cost of production or cost of providing services. So what work we do is basically in terms of auditing purpose, we do audit of what is the cost of production. For example, simply if I have this mobile, correct? Now company called as maybe this is a mobile by any company. So when you go to the website of that company, you will know how much profit that company has made. Correct? So there is a price at which we can buy this mobile.
Absolutely.
But at the back of it, there is a cost at which this mobile is getting produced. So we audit the cost and inform to the government that is what is the cost of manufacturing of this mobile. Sales price can be determined by the market or it can be determined by the company.
Absolutely.
So that is overall the difference between cost and financial profit or costing profit and financial profit. The other part that we do is help companies do better resource management. So costing is more micro level oriented. It's not a macro kind of an analysis of overall company का क्या हो रहा है. Correct? A company overall may be making profit, but it has say 200 products that it sells, different SKUs. Taking an example, there will be 20 various models of a mobile.
Alright.
हर एक मॉडल पे कितना प्रॉफिट हो रहा है कितना लॉस हो रहा है ये कॉस्टिंग एक्सरसाइज से पता चलता है. फाइनेंशियल्स यू हैव ओवरऑल व्यू कि कंपनी प्रॉफिट में है या नहीं है. Correct. So the costing is more helpful to the management for micro level analysis. So that is maybe in broader term what can I explain that what is costing is all about.
Alright, so that's
Even Himanshu bhai, you can consider you are the education institute. For example, first year में आपके 100 class है, second year में 200 class है. We are finding per student per class wise costing. Okay. If your first year bench is more profitable, it may be possible. Second year may be losses. So we are the resource person who are finding out the exact cost and profit of the institute, even education institute also, even NIMS also.
all right, sir. So can we say that it's going more in the deep of understanding how exactly and what is the exact cost of that one product is made,
Correct.
or the ekdam very specific per unit price of it.
Yes, Ivan.
So before understanding the more about it, what are your views on about the MSMEs? Are they actually performing on these cost management accounting? Cause like what I have learned during my MBA era, and I'm still learning, is that cost is something that a business can control. Apart from that, I don't think so business has any other opportunity or any other thing that they can control by themselves. It's basically the cost that they all handle. So what are your views on MSMEs and how are they performing currently with respect to cost management, sir?
Yes, brother, in India, almost 6.5 crore MSMEs are there. Narendra Modi का एक vision है 2047. So in these visions, we are making economy of 5 trillion.
All right.
So in this area, they are giving so much subsidies and everything for the MSMEs. आप आज की डेट में लार्ज स्केल, मीडियम स्केल और स्मॉल स्केल सभी जगह पे मोदी गवर्नमेंट आपको सब्सिडी दे रही है. सो इन MSME कोई चांस ही नहीं है कि वो लॉस में जाए. इट इज़ 100% उनकी एफिशिएंसी पे ही डिपेंड करता है. एज ए कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट हम क्या करते हैं, इफ समवन कमिंग विथ अस, वी आर प्रिपेयरिंग प्रोजेक्ट रिपोर्ट्स, उनको हम 5 साल का प्रोजेक्शन दिखाते हैं. वी आर हेल्पिंग देम इन द गेटिंग फंड फ्रॉम द बैंक एंड अदर रिसोर्सेज. We are also helping them to getting various subsidies from the government. Not only this, we are also helping them to establishment of offices and other things also. So cost accountant are major pivot role. You can say they are the doctor of the MSME industry.
See, I agree with Mihir what he's saying, that cost accountants play a vital role. But very honestly, as per my experience, the MSMEs don't have a focused costing system in place, to be very honest, correct?
Yes, sir.
Because the first priority for any enterprise comes as a financial reporting.
Yeah.
So they are more focused on having a good financial reporting system in place.
Yeah.
But majority of MSMEs where I have worked, micro and because MSME you have to categorize. There is micro, small and medium.
Yes, sir.
The medium enterprises, yes, maybe to some extent they are focused on the scientific costing method. But on overall basis, they work on a thumb rule basis.
Can we say that the profit is the main?
Correct, the profit is there, and see, or normally the MSMEs are started by people who are technology background
Yes,
people.
Oh, yes.
Correct. So I know what my product is. I know how to manufacture it. I know what is on thumb rule basis what is the cost.
Like ये रॉ मटेरियल पे इतना परसेंटेज आपने चार्ज कर दिया, these are my profit.
सो मुझे ये पता होता है कि थंब रूल पे मेरा प्रॉफिट 15% आना चाहिए. ऑन थंब रूल आई नो कि माई रॉ मटेरियल कॉस्ट इज 60%, बट नॉट प्रिसाइजली कैलकुलेटेड, एंड दैट इज वेयर द डिस्कनेक्ट कम्स इन. सो व्हेन द MSMEs स्टार्ट ग्रोइंग, they want to focus on this. So what we have experienced ki as there is a generational shift in the MSME ownership. So जो first time owner रहता है, he has worked very hard being a technocrat. Maybe the next generation, or when he grows on a growth phase, then the real pressure of price has been felt. Because in the beginning you are selling to a very small market where you are able to sell. As you want to grow, you need to find more and more customers. And then the प्रेशर ऑन प्राइस विल कम. कंपनी आके आपसे बोलेगी कि ये सेम प्रोडक्ट मुझे ये आदमी एक्स प्राइस पे दे रहा है, आई कैन नॉट पे यू वाई प्राइस, आई कैन पे यू एक्स प्लस सम डेल्टा 5% कम ज़्यादा. अगर आप 20% ज़्यादा मांगोगे मैं तो आपको दूंगा नहीं. देन द प्रेशर ऑन द प्राइस कम्स इन, देन द इम्पोर्टेंस ऑफ कॉस्टिंग कम्स इन. सो MSME में देयर इज अ ह्यूज स्कोप टू स्टार्ट रिकॉर्डिंग द कॉस्ट, टू स्टार्ट कंट्रोलिंग द कॉस्ट, बिकॉज फॉर देम द रिसोर्सेस आर रियली स्केर्स. They don't have access to large capital also.
Exactly.
कि जितना चाहिए उतना पैसा डाला बिजनेस में, ऐसा है नहीं. Majority of the times the owners are putting their own fund or some equity has been coming. But they really need to manage, and that is precisely where the costing can help them. The penetration of costing in MSMEs is not very high. That's my personal experience, whatever we have been working so long. But if they do employ the cost and management accounting techniques, it's not only the cost. आप आपका रिसोर्स कैसे यूटिलाइज कर रहे हो. रिसोर्स इन द सेंस मैन पावर भी है, पावर इज देयर, यूटिलिटीज आर देयर, वाटर है. समझो कुछ इंडस्ट्री वाटर एक्सटेंड, जैसे टेक्सटाइल है, टेक्सटाइल रिक्वायर्स ह्यूज वाटर इनटेक. सो कॉस्टिंग का मतलब ये नहीं है कि यू आर ओनली मेजरिंग द कॉस्ट. द कॉस्ट एंड मैनेजमेंट अकाउंटिंग एज अ कंसेप्ट, इट कवर्स यूटिलाइजेशन ऑफ रिसोर्सेज ऑल्सो. सो जैसे आपकी मैन पावर है या फिर पावर है, वाटर है, सो सबका इफेक्टिव यूटिलाइजेशन कैसे होगा? वन, यू मेजर इट, एंड सेकंड, यू कंट्रोल द कॉस्ट. The concept is not reduction, the concept is control. Optimum utilization of resources.
Absolutely.
So for example, textile, if it requires huge amount of water, then you identify which are the resources from you are taking the water. हमें लगता है कि पानी तो फ्री है, जमीन से निकाल लिया, यूज कर लिया. But in today's day and time, we cannot use the unlimited water also. The water can be costing you when you are purchasing the water. So what are those resources? How you will effectively use them to achieve the maximum production. So ये सारी costing की concepts जो है, that what we feel that MSMEs can use it for their advancement and their betterment. It's not very deeply rooted in MSME sector. बड़ी industries जो है, of course they have manpower.
Absolutely.
And they are doing it, but for MSMEs still they need to cross that line of going into that sector.
इमाम भाई एक एग्जांपल देना चाह रहा हूँ. आपके क्लास में कितने स्टूडेंट हैं?
So we have a batch of around 50 people.
50 फ्लेवर. उसमें मैं 10 स्टूडेंट ज़्यादा बिठा दूंगा तो कोई फ़र्क पड़ेगा आपकी कॉस्टिंग में?
Sir,
कभी कंपनी का रेवेन्यू बढ़ जाएगा,
हाँ,
उनका फिक्स कॉस्ट रिमेन सेम.
yes,
तो
that's true.
इट इज़ अ सिंपल कॉस्टिंग रूल्स.
I get it, sir. And in fact, the point that you mentioned about the scarcity of resources, optimum, and it's not just about implementing them, but also we need to make sure that we control it over the long time.
Correct.
And if we just implement it today and leave it, the further day as we increase the production, it's going to cost us more, right?
Correct.
So the controlling part or keeping it stagnant every single day is something that we look on. But so from your perspective, as you have been in the industry, both of you, for a very long time, so what do you think are MSMEs are actually implementing cost management, or in case if they are implementing, are the results that is supposed to get the maximum profitable and optimum uses of the resources? What are your views about them? Are they really helpful?
Yes, of course they are helpful. See what happens that majority of the companies, they are selling a basket of product. Correct. So they sell multiple products. So it is very important, or multiple services. Important for the owner to take decision to understand which service or which product is making profit and which are not. Majority of time you will realize that there is a vast difference. There are some products which are sold at loss also. So, or services that are provided at loss.
Yes.
You need to make a decision. That decision can be a strategic or it can be a mistake. So that is what the owners or the top management will realize, or they do realize when they do costing. So MSMEs which are using costing, the major purpose is to distinguish between profitability of various products or services, so that they can focus on the product that is giving me maximum profit, and I can minimize or I can stop the product that is making actually a loss to me. तो product का turnover हो सकता है, but if it is adding negative either to my profit or to my cost recovery, then it's better to not sell that product. तो हम बहुत बारे कंपनी को बेचते हैं कि प्रोडक्ट सेल करके एक्चुअली यू आर ईटिंग इनटू योर प्रॉफिट. तो अगर आप बिजनेस ही ना करके शांति से बैठोगे तो मे बी यू विल अर्न मोर प्रॉफिट. डोंट सेल दैट प्रोडक्ट. सो दिस काइंड ऑफ एनालिसिस कम्स आउट, and MSMEs are definitely making use of it. As I said, it's not very deeply rooted on all the MSMEs, but the MSMEs which are using or which are taking help of the cost and management accounting techniques per se, so decision making is what it is focused on for the management rather than compliance point of view. See, the financial accounting is more compliance oriented. कि मैंने किसी से लोन लिया है, so that person is asking me कि आप एक signed P&L मेरे को दे दो. It's from more compliance. Government is saying कि give me a profit and loss account that is signed, so that I know that procedurally, legally you are doing things correct. Cost and management accounting is more decision making oriented. So it is more for the internal management to look at how we are doing the business and how we can do it better. So that is the basic orientation.
Completely, sir. But sir, this is all about the MSMEs, the small, the mediums, and the micro enterprises. So what about in case of large corporates? How do they manage the cost management? In fact, they have the scarcity as well, the resources and the manpower that they use, the power, the rent, and other expenses of them. They're very high. How do they implement cost management? And is it very efficient and useful for those big, large corporates?
लार्ज स्केप में तो कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट सभी डिपार्टमेंट का पूरा अलग डिपार्टमेंट ही होता है. दे आर लाइक फॉलोइंग एक्टिविटी वाइज कॉस्टिंग. आई वॉज ऑल्सो वर्किंग इन एलेमिक फार्मा, like pharmaceutical company, fertilizer company, power company. There are statutory compliance in the cost audits. So they have to report to the government. उनको फॉर एग्जाम्पल फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी या कोई दवाई खाते हो डेनपी या पैरासूटामोल, तो उसका जो प्राइस फिक्स होता है वो कॉस्ट अकाउंटेंट के सर्टिफिकेट से होता है. सो दे नीड कंपल्सरी कॉस्ट अकाउंट इन देयर फार्मास्यूटिकल कंपनी है, फर्टिलाइजर कंपनी. आप ये खेती लोग करें, सोयाबीन का भी सुबह ही बात सर ने बताया. तो जो फर्टिलाइजर यूरिया यूज़ होता है, एमोनिया यूज़ होता है, उसका जो MRP डिसाइड होता है हमारे सर्टिफिकेट से ही होता है. तो इन लार्ज साइज कंपनी कॉस्ट अकाउंटर आर कंपल्सरी. इवन दे हैव MIS डिपार्टमेंट, बिजनेस फाइनेंस डिपार्टमेंट. सर इज ऑल्सो वर्किंग इन वेरी बिग MNC कंपनी. सो ही इज वर्किंग इन Tata Motors. They are many companies. So they following costing system rigorously. मैं इसका भी एक एग्जांपल दूँ. बिस्लरी का बॉटल है. अभी कोई आप मुझे पूछे कि इसका कॉस्ट कैसे कम कर सकता है, मैं बताऊंगा कि इसका ये बॉटल इतना ही रखने का क्या जरूरत है. इसका कैप इसे छोटा भी कर सकते हो. इसका कोई रीज़न है आप बता पाओगे हिमांशु भाई? कोई नहीं बता पाएगा. इसको छोटा करके भी आप कॉस्ट सेविंग कर सकते हो. इसका MRP सेम रहेगा लेकिन उसका मटेरियल कॉस्ट ऑटोमेटिक डाउन हो जाएगा. सो वी आर गिविंग एग्जांपल लाइक दिस. नॉट ओनली दिस इन द पावर कंपनी, देयर डिमांड चार्जेस आर फिक्स्ड. अभी ये कमरे में हम बैठे हैं, यहाँ पे इतनी सारी लाइट है, उसका डिमांड चार्जेस आपको गवर्नमेंट को 10 रुपये फिक्स देना ही है, लेकिन आपका यूजेस 5 रुपीज़ ही है. तो वी कैन एनालिसिस ओवर द ईयर्स दिस डेटा.
So that example of water bottle and the cap was really, it was mind blowing for me क्योंकि eventually I thought कि exactly there could be cost
कंपल्सरी
reduction.
नहीं है हिमांशु भाई. इसका कैप रखा कहाँ लिखा है कंपल्सरी है. आप कम भी कर सकते हो तो ऑटोमेटिक आपका कॉस्ट सेविंग हो जाएगा. नीरज सर भी इसमें कुछ ऐड कर, ये हैज वेरी गुड एक्सपीरियंस इन द कॉस्ट सेविंग.
नहीं, जो बेसिकली आपने जो क्वेश्चन पूछा कि वेदर बिग कंपनीज आर हैविंग कॉस्टिंग सिस्टम, आंसर इज ऑफ कोर्स yes. All the ERPs in the market, they have a dedicated module for costing, controlling, whatever you call, or generally this department is called as a controlling department. It's not called as a costing department in bigger organization. So this department precisely does this job, as Mihir has also explained, that how to reduce the cost, correct? Because profit can increase because price is given, because price is determined by the market in now today's days and time. No company can dictate prices unless it's a technologically advanced kind of a product. But in few years that will be replaced by some competitor. So price is determined by the market. So profit can only be increased if you control the cost. So these are various techniques which are done, and all the bigger companies have a very, very robust system of capturing cost. So what is important first is you capture cost correctly, and it requires a lot of insight and information into the technical parameters of how the product is made. Like he is giving an example कि ये इसका कम हो सकता है या नहीं हो सकता है, but that is a technical decision that is to be made.
Absolutely.
तो जो भी आदमी कॉस्टिंग का काम करता है उसको ये पता होना चाहिए टेक्निकली कि how a product is manufactured, how it is done. Simple example में maybe many of the younger generation people might not be aware of the example of thumbs up. Thumbs Up used to be a company. Parle was the people who were manufacturing. When the foreign brands entered in India, they wanted to take over Thumbs Up manufacturing, or wanted to take over the brand. The company was not ready to sell it. So the simple thing that was done by the foreign players is they used to buy the empty bottles of Thumbs Up, and then they used to destroy them. Because manufacturing earlier, it used to be glass bottles for all the cold drinks. It never used to be, because plastic bottles were not there. When I was a kid, all cold drinks used to come in glass bottles. And the model was, I sell you glass bottle, I take a deposit from you. When I sell you Thumbs Up bottle, if you are taking the bottle home, you pay me 25% deposit. I come to you, I return the bottle, 25 paisa is paid back to me. Company will come. They will collect the Thumbs Up bottles, take it back, because it's a glass bottle. They will wash it and refill and give it to you. Correct? So bottle making cost was a very huge amount. Making Thumbs Up or making Coca-Cola, the liquid was very cheap. So what foreign companies did, they used to come, buy Thumbs Up bottles and destroy them. So every time a Thumbs Up bottle is to be sold, they have to make the bottle, fill it and sell it.
Yes.
It becomes a loss-making proposition for the Indian company, and ultimately that company brand got sold out to a foreign brand. What is the cost component? Now they must. So this is entirely based on understanding what is the major cost that can hit a company. So it's not only to grow a company; it can also be used to destroy competition.
Exactly.
Exact understanding of what is the cost composition of a particular product.
But to be honest, the glass bottle example, yeah, I've seen glass bottles, but I didn't know that the implementation was just to reduce the cost and cost by removing all the plastic bottles. And I truly get it, sir, because when the volume increases, the cost also increases at the same point of time. With all the topics that we covered, I have a lot of questions, sir. The very first question, sir, that I would like to know that, you mentioned about the pharmaceutical companies. So there is a huge demand and supply for that. We usually, all the MNCs as well as the Indian pharmaceutical companies, they order APIs from China and then they build it. How does that, increase in tariff as well? The tariff war that's going on right now. How does that also affect, or does it affect the cost accounting? Because, there is an increase in tax rate, there is an increase in the cost of production. So do you guys also take into consideration about all the, all the factors that are covering up the cost?
After the Donald Trump announcement, pharmaceutical companies are definitely in the danger zone. This may impact the profitability of the company, but as a cost accountant, yes, we have to see all the parameters, like what are the exports parameters, what are the domestic demands. This may be covered. Neeraj bhai, give more the.
See, basically, the pharma sector is very much, in India at least, there are two parts in pharma sector. One is controlled price, other is non-controlled price. So Indian government very much has a control on price of certain medicines, not all, but certain medicines which are more critical for public or masses. So there is a process that you have cost, and the selling price is cost plus a fixed percentage that is defined by the government, correct? So that is how in India, in pharma market, there is a section of medicines which are cost plus basis. So for that, costing becomes very critical. That is why government has specific cost audit in pharma sectors for all these years, for last 45-60 years. So government has precise data of what is the manufacturing cost of every medicine that's get produced in India. Like in times of COVID, the cost of Dolo 650 had gone up. We all know that.
Yes, sir.
In news articles were there. So how did government came to know about it? Because government has a track record of what is the cost of Dolo 650 over past say 10, 15, 20 years. So the price has to be commensurate with the cost. The cost remaining same, the price cannot increase 10 times, 20 times. So that is how government comes to know about it. More to speak on this tariff related issue. See, that is definitely going to affect not only pharma sector, many sectors, because the tariff has from maybe 20-30%, it has gone up to 50% now.
In fact, 300%.
Correct, now
Yes,
300%.
textile industry also affected.
Correct. So everybody is affected. So there are two aspects. One, we do a value re-engineering in our supply chain as well as our both the sides, means from the vendor side as well as to the customer side, and try to reduce the cost. So that is one approach. The second is we try to find a different market. But all of this is very expensive proposition, correct? And that is where the use of costing as a technique would come in. That even if I today decide that, okay, instead of selling to US, I would start selling it to say UK, or I will start selling it to Europe. But then the entire supply chain needs to revert. Because currently I have a fixed method by which my goods from India go to US, either by ship. So that route is fixed, the rate contracts are made.
Yes.
Now if I want to divert that same amount of quantity to Europe, a completely different supply chain needs to be established.
Yes.
And that is going to be a very costly affair.
Yes, sir.
At least in short term. In long run it would work out. So any professional, including people like you who are the future of the country, in fact, you need to focus on how that supply chain can be effectively deployed in the minimum cost. And that is precisely what currently the fraternity of cost and management accounts, they are doing. They are helping the industry figure out how they can reduce cost. Where I can ask my vendors that they can supply me in a lesser cost so that my cost comes down. So the effect of increased tariff is borne, or it can be absorbed by the Indian company to some extent, and to my customers in US to some extent. Because ultimately, if you say my cost or my price is 100, what tariff has done that my price would still remain 100.
Alright.
Instead of US person or US citizen getting that product for 130 rupees, now he will get that product for 180 rupees. So actually it's the loss of US citizen, not Indian company. But the problem is that he would not be willing to buy that product at rupees 180.
Yeah.
He's used to buying it at 130 and somebody is able to sell it at 130. So the arbitrage is who else is also selling. Indian pharma is the giant in the world, correct? We are the largest manufacturers of pharma. So only to take an example of pharma. So pharma sector to my mind does not need to worry that much in short term, because creating a US FDA approved pharma manufacturing facility itself will take time for any other competing country. For example, tomorrow say China decides that they will replace India into pharma sector. They would have to set up a pharma company.
Absolutely.
For them also it becomes a costly affair and a time duration. So till that time we have cushion. But what after that? So we need to think from that perspective and try to reduce our costs so that we can absorb that additional 20-30% of duty by cutting our costs. And that is where now everybody will be working.
Even sir, Canadian people are also planning to shift his manufacturing facility from
Correct.
China to India.
Correct.
I have received so many queries कि आप यहाँ पे US कैनेडियन के साथ टाइप करवा दो.
Correct.
So India, foreign people are moving to China to India also.
And I also completely agree to Neeraj sir. As you mentioned, you know, India is actually does exports a lot of oral or generic medicines to the US and to South Africa as well.
Even our labor cost is very cheap compared
Yes, sir.
to all over the world.
Exactly, and henceforth we get all those,
Yeah.
like, you know.
Yes.
So the very next question that, you know, arises in our audience's mind as well as to us also, sir, is we have looked on the positive aspects of the cost accounting, sir. What are the risks affiliated to the cost accounting? What do you counter as the risk, or what are the barriers that you find or the struggle that you do when you do or perform all the cost accounting in an organization, sir?
हिमांशु भाई एक चीज़ बताइए, आप डॉक्टर के पास जाते हो तो आपको क्या लगता है डॉक्टर का क्या स्ट्रगल होगा?
Sir.
Since likewise cost accounting field में as such we are giving a service, so as such कुछ struggle नहीं है. As a WRC chair में आप मुझे बताओगे, yes, students need to be very parallel to learn everything like MBA people. So we are the three type of foundation, inter and final course. We are a strategic management, we are a cost management, we are financial audit. These are the course. Students they are learning all type of courses in our CMA course. You can add.
Yeah. See, basically, what I tell my clients or what principle they need to follow is cost of costing should not be high. Is what I tell my clients always. Cost of costing should not be high.
So what
So
exactly?
it means that, see, if I am currently getting my without having a cost accountant come in or without deploying very scientific methods of costing, if I am able to calculate my cost, say with 70% accuracy, that's what currently the business is at. If I do very, very scientific method costing and I improve that 70% accuracy to 80% accuracy, but they pay me or they pay a consultant or a cost accountant or they need to invest into technology or invest into computers to the extent that it offsets this 10% accuracy calculation, that it does not make any sense to do the costing. Or a simple example is for if I have to hire a person to do costing and if he's going to charge me say 20 lakhs rupees per annum, I set up a department in a small company. Let's take an example of an MSME. They want to do very good costing, so they need to hire a cost accountant, have a ERP system, lot of things. So the cost per annum for this exercise comes to be say 30 lakhs rupees. Now after doing all these things, if they are not able to get benefit or if they are not able to reduce their cost by 30 lakhs rupees or not increase their sales by 30 lakhs rupees, then doing this entire exercise does not make any sense to them.
Absolutely, sir.
So the fundamental principle is cost of costing should not be prohibitive. One, that is the problem. Second problem is, as I said, costing is doing a micro level analysis. So unless the company has a system of collecting data, costing cannot work. And data is of operations. So costing is very, very highly linked with the operations of the company. So we as cost accountants, we have subjects of engineering that we learn. Correct?
Okay.
I know what is BOM. So as part of our syllabus, we study manufacturing processes of almost 44 to 45 industries. So today if you ask me what is the manufacturing process of textile, I can tell you. Or manufacturing process of hot roll steel, I can tell you. Because that's part of my training. Correct? Because unless I know how steel is manufactured, I will not be able to advise my client on how to do costing.
Yeah, truly.
But now if the client doesn't have a system in place to capture the information, कि मटेरियल कितना कंज्यूम हुआ इन टर्म्स ऑफ क्वांटिटी. If he doesn't know that, or for example, if I'm going to manufacturing this bottle, correct? So this is made of plastic.
Yes, sir.
So basically, the manufacturing process would be you take plastic granules, you melt them, you blow them,
Yes,
the shape
exactly.
comes in.
Yes.
So for every manufacturing or every how much quantity or how much weight, how much milligrams of granules are required to manufacture this one bottle, if this is not captured, one is knowing it. So I would not know it precisely, but a technical person, an engineer would know. But unless this information is captured, I will not be able to suggest them that whether you are in plus or in minus. So whether you are spending more on raw material than normal or spending less. So capturing of information is the limiting factor for any costing exercise. That unless the company has a system of precisely capturing the correct information, they will not be able to drive any benefit out of the costing system. So that is only the challenge. And second challenge is more person oriented, that whether the people sitting at the top, they appreciate the use of costing. Because what is our experience is till the time company is making profit, nobody is bothered about the costing. The moment there is a pressure on price, the pressure on profit, everybody starts thinking about costing, but by that time, in my experience, it's too late. So unless you have costing as a base of your information or of your business, it's very difficult to go back and start implementing costing system when already the tides have turned. We have seen practically that when there was a time that share markets were in huge boom, many of the companies were making profit only in trading.
Yes.
The treasury department used to be the most powerful department in company and not the production. The company's business is to produce and sell. The treasury cannot overshadow the business. But the markets were in upswing. The companies used to employ huge manpower in treasury, where you are investing your entire profit into the market and earning money. The moment the markets fail, the treasury department could not do. And by that time, the companies have reached to a situation where the operating were losses. So I was not making profit by selling product. I was making profit because I was invested in market. The markets fail, my profit is gone. On product, I am already making loss. So the companies were wiped out. Now if I start and think कि चलो अभी मैं cost reduction करूँगा, तो when I will do the cost reduction? It's a process. It will not happen in one day. It will take 2, 3, 4 years. By that time, you have eaten up all your capital and the company is gone. So the mindset of the owner also makes a lot of difference, that whether he has realized the importance of costing or not. So these are the few challenges. Otherwise, as Mihir said, there is no challenge per se. But the
कंपनी
challenge is
चालू
more
करने के
personal.
साथ ही कॉस्ट अकाउंट में रखना चाहिए.
I told you, sir, with that preciseness of even you're supposed to know the granules that you're using,
Yes,
just to
yes.
make the plastic bottle. That
इवन
is,
ये प्लास्टिक बोतल रिसाइकल होता है, तो वी आर ऑल्सो सजेस्टिंग उसका कंपोनेंट क्या रहता है रिसाइकल का, टेक टाइम ऑफ वी आर ऑल्सो सजेस्टिंग.
So isn't it more, advanced toward technological, where it's a technology that is going to inform you whether how much of the material has been used or not, and how much should you use as well. So what are your views about, the ongoing AI thing that's around, that's booming everywhere in the globe? Do you think that AI is a threat to CMAs, to, the cost management accountants, or will it go hand in hand to them?
I head the AI committee of our institute, which I have formed around 2 years back. Correct? It's not only in India or the CMA, the entire accounting and auditing fraternity globally is threatened by development in AI. And so are many businesses. Correct? The consultancy business or the service industry would be the first one to get affected with the AI deployment. Manufacturing would come later, because for manufacturing you still need a person to manufacture. So till the time the robotics get developed to an extent that a person can be replaced by a robot, there is some solace to the manufacturing sector. But a service sector, particularly CMS, we are definitely concerned. Because what happens that the routine jobs were taken over by the computers long time back.
Yes,
correct? Towards 1990s, when there was a shift from manualized to the computerized kind of a work, lot of basic routine jobs are done by machines nowadays. We coped up with that. AI is having basic intelligence level is very high, so it is trying to emulate what a human mind can do. What limitation AI may have currently is the creative thinking, which cannot be taken over by AI and which can only be done by a human.
The human, yes.
And that is where I feel that CMAs as a profession should have to focus, and that is what we are trying to teach our professionals and students also, correct? So rather than learning to how to use an AI tool, because currently majority of us are learning is what how to use it, correct? हम AI मतलब chat GPT है, Gemini है. I know how to use chat GPT मतलब मेरे को AI आता है, ऐसा नहीं है. Because today you are giving a prompt to chat GPT, tomorrow AI will give prompt to themselves. That is where the development is at currently, correct? What we use in AI is not something that is which is available with the AI companies. AI companies are maybe 20 years ahead of what we know currently, correct? So AI has gone to that level. So what we need to teach our students, or where we are worried, is that unless my fellow professional, a cost accountant knows to think differently or to understand which process can be automatized using AI, so that is where the skill comes in.
Absolutely, sir.
जैसे मैंने बोला cost of costing should not be, वैसा ही है, cost of AI should not be very high. तो मुझे जो एक प्रोसेस है अकाउंट्स राइटिंग का प्रोसेस मुझे ऑटोमेट करना है यूजिंग AI. So I as a professional should be able to tell my client that whether it is justifiable or not. If he has to invest 10 crore rupees in getting it done, and if his current manpower cost is say 20 lakhs rupees, then he need not go for an AI based accounts department. So we are teaching our people to understand what are the processes that can be more facilitated using AI. So you first to identify the process. For that you need to know what is AI, how AI works, what is machine learning, what is deep learning, what is the technology behind it, and the next is out of box thinking. Whether you can create a tool yourself. For you also, it's very important to have that idea. So you look at the business or look at the area where you want to work, and you give it a thought that what is that one thing that is missing in the entire AI tools that are available. So whether I can design an AI tool, the coding will be done by a IT engineer. We don't, as a CMA, we don't intend to teach our people to do coding. What we are trying to incite them is to have a thinking of innovation, and for that you need to understand AI as a technology, and the entire AI base is basically statistics and arithmetic. So you need to learn a bit of statistics as well. That is what the change for us is, because majority of the students who go to commerce, they don't like mathematics in 12th. That is why they say कि अरे maths तो आता नहीं है, तो first commerce को चले जाते हैं. But now that is not going to work. You have gone to left your mathematics in 12th standard. But now the time has come for us to start learning again at least the arithmetics and statistics. That is where we are now. As an institute, we are focusing. Our syllabus is under revision, but it will definitely have a dedicated focus. Once again, going back to maths, basic algebra and statistics.
That's that was actually a very great point. And as we are actually moving towards concluding the session, so the very most interesting or the most awaited question. So what are it's eventually the basic question that every MBA student or even the bachelor student are eager to know. So what exactly do you think are the skills required, or which is the most underrated skill that any CMA or even a master's degree person or an MBA holder can pursue that is actually going to help him in the organization for maintaining the cost? And I don't think so it's just about the organization, but your day-to-day activities can also be helped by using those management accountings.
तो भाई हम लोग एवरी टाइम कैंपस प्लेसमेंट वी अरेंज. उसमें क्या होता है, फॉर एग्जांपल यू गेट दी जॉब ऑफ 25 lakhs इन द कैंपस प्लेसमेंट. उसके बाद वो आसमान में उड़ने लगता है बच्चा, कोई भी बच्चा होता है. इवन इन द इंटरमीडिएट स्टूडेंट गेट द 5 lakh 6 lakh जॉब. उसको लगता है सब मुझे आता है, एवरीथिंग आर द गोइंग वेल. बट यू मस्ट बी हम्बल. आपको हम्बलनेस बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. वो स्टूडेंट के पास होता नहीं है. वो सीनियर से बात करेगा, नीरज भाई से बात करेगा. ये अभी क्या होता है, MNC कंपनी में वो नाम से बुलाते हैं कि मिस्टर नीरज, लेकिन इंडियन कल्चर इज नॉट लाइक दैट.
Yes, sir.
यू हैव टू रिस्पेक्ट योर सीनियर्स एंड फेलो पीपल्स. तो स्टूडेंट मस्ट बी हम्बल. और दूसरा, उसको लर्निंग कभी भी बंद करना नहीं चाहिए. नीरज सर आज ही इज़ अ वेल एस्टेब्लिश एंटरप्रीनियर. उनके पास कुछ करने का ज़रूरत ही नहीं है, फिर भी इज़ लर्निंग. अभी AI का कोर्स उन्होंने खुद डिज़ाइन किया. कल हमारा MDP एक लॉन्च हुआ है, गवर्नमेंट का इनिशिएटिव है. तो ही इज़ ड्राफ्टिंग एवरीथिंग. सो आप 60 ईयर हो, 70 ईयर 80 ईयर पे हो, आपको लर्निंग बहुत ही ज़रूरी है. ये दो चीज़ बहुत ही ज़रूरी है, तभी आप आगे बढ़ पाओगे. और तीसरा चीज़ क्या होता है, इफ़ फ्यूचर में आप CEO बनते हो, तो उसके बाद आपका एटीट्यूड डाउन टू अर्थ होना चाहिए. ऐसा नहीं होता आप जैसे ऊपर जाते हो ऐसा अपना एटीट्यूड हाई होने लगता है. यू मस्ट बी हम्बल. वो टाइम पे ज़्यादा हम्बल दिखानी चाहिए, सबको हेल्प करना चाहिए. These are the things student must learn apart from the academic.
Alright, sir. I truly appreciate and the time that you gave for the podcast, sir. It was actually a very great podcast, because major of the audiences and major of us as well had a great learning about how cost management is, going around the globe. It's whether in case of globalization, whether in case of the preciseness, and eventually you gave us many ideas about how we can reduce the raw materials. It was a very grateful of yours for having at NMIMS Indore, sir, and joining the
podcast की
sir.
वजह से आपको भी costing सीखने को मिल गया.
Definitely,
You can
sir.
also implement in NMIS.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank
for
you,
your time.
Mansi bhai,
Thank
for
you.
inviting us.
Thanks,
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.